What's up, DTMB? Squid here. This is probably going to be a pretty long commentary, if you will, but hopefully that doesn't deter you from listening. I kind of wanted to give you a breakdown of exactly what's going on, what can you expect, and the reasoning behind all this. If you've been to the channel page, you've noticed that our new snazzy background with the Don't Taunt Me Bro logo up on the top, rebuilt, redone, with the Oh Snap Drake over in the corner. We also have the Pixel Enemy Network over on the right hand side. That's going to kind of give you an idea of how we're going to do this, of how this is going to progress. DTMB is now partnered with Pixel Enemy. If you don't know who Pixel Enemy is, they are a major provider when it comes to trailers, commentaries, pretty much any YouTube. They're a YouTube conglomerate, YouTube coalition, if you will, where a lot of people come together and broadcast their videos from other communities, whether it's Battlefield or Max Payne or COD or, you know, whatever comes across, whatever's new and hot, and whatever has always been in a stable contingency, if you will. But Uncharted, you know, it doesn't really have. I guess I need to give the background history of exactly why I started DTMB and where we plan to go now and why we plan to go this direction. I started DTMB back in September out of a joke. It was a total joke. Don't revive me, bro. I've always been a Battlefield player. Really good friends with a lot of the guys over there. That's kind of where I worked. I was kind of like a behind-the-scenes person. I would help the guy, one of the guys that founded Don't Revive Me, Bro. And out of a joke one day, I was like, you know, I'm a huge Uncharted fan, so I'm going to make Don't Taunt Me, Bro, and say that Don't Revive Me, Bro stole our name. Just out of a total, it was stupidity. It was like last summer, and it finally came to fruition in September when I got my HD PVR. And, you know, from that point forward, it was like, let's just have fun. I mean, if you go back and listen to my first commentary, I don't remember why or what I talked about. It was just like random stuff that came off the top of my head, and that's kind of how I started it. But over time, this thing grew. You know, I kind of stepped up, I guess, into the spotlight of the community, trying to, you know, galvanize and help this community grow. So I felt like I needed to take a more serious role in this. And I needed to not be so, you know, laissez-faire about it, because you know, a lot of the stuff I did, it was just like, oh, it's fun, you know, people come over here, people do that, yada yada. But I've always been a personality. I like to focus what I do on my personality. Like, yes, Rampant, that's great. Doing random little videos of showing what you did on Uncharted, that's great. But what really builds camaraderie in a community, what really defines that, is personalities. You get the right amount of personalities around something, it's going to grow, it's going to be prosperous, it's going to build into a better, I guess, in a better future, if you will. And that's kind of the focus of DTMB now. I went from just being the personality to, and I've always said that DTMB is for everyone. I just made it. I'm just the founder. I'm not like so much the owner. We're like the Green Bay Packers. Everybody owns DTMB in the Uncharted community. We all have a portion or a piece of that as a whole. And I you know, that's how I look at it. That's how I feel. And in a sense, I feel like Naughty Dog has a portion of it too, because this is their game. They want to support this, and you know, so on and so forth. But that's kind of that's the focus on this. The reason why I want to rebrand DTMB is because it was too inconsistent before. I just did stuff because it felt good, or I felt like, oh, that was fun. That's a cool thing to do. But now I want to do it because it has a more defined understanding. Uncharted 3. Kind of had it rough at the beginning because, and I think this is one of the biggest reasons why, there's not a stable community on Uncharted. Coming from Uncharted 2, there was no like, this guy, okay, here's a group of leadership. Here's a group of people you know are always going to be there, are always going to be doing this and doing that. Like, it's different doing stuff on the forums. That's only a portion of the huge pie, if you will. Just being on the forums, that's just one section. The YouTube community, getting into the game, understanding how people play these things, the competitive side, the casual side, or just don't even separate that. The competitive side is on its own little sect. Casual is such a negative connotation, at least in my mind. I think it's just the rest of the community, the meat of the community, if you will. Those who come and go, who, you know, the different faces, different places. That's the you know, those are the people. You know, when you think about it, that's like the, you know, if you're a politician and you're trying to get people to elect you, that's the people you go after. You know, competitive community, almost in a way, it's kind of like, in some ways, it's an elitist thing. So, I mean, that's okay. That's how it's been built. That's something you can't change. That's going to take a long time to change, but that's how it's kind of, I guess, progressed over the past, 15, 20 years, I guess, whenever really competitive gaming shot off. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is just rebrand DTMB and do it more as an ambassador program. I talked to Eric Naughty Dog, about this, and they're doing their own side, something that, really encompasses them and Sony. So I told Eric, I was like, well, while you guys are building that, why don't we're going to start something, and we're going to try to build up this portion on our own. It's kind of one of those things, like, it's initiative. It's an initiative to say, hey, this community doesn't really have a pact, a group, a people of, like, individuals that are not so much looked up to, because that's kind of it's not like you're a bunch of kids, It's one of those things where you look at these people to try to help you and say, hey, these are the people that lead the way, but it also galvanizes me and gives me the initiative to want to do something myself. So that's kind of the whole purpose of this. That's the reason why I do all these things. That's the reason why I do the podcast, and I jump in and make all these threads at half the time that nobody even really pays attention to, because it's more, we're not going to get into that, but it's just one of those things where I do this regardless what the outcome is, because over time it's going to plant that idea. Sorry for the inception moment, but it's going to plant that idea into somebody's mind, like, you know what, I can do this too, and I like this, and I like doing it this way, and it's the same kind of thing. Like, it's just building that. So if you make a community and you build a foundation around it, because there is no foundation right now, and yes, we're 7-8 months into this life cycle of Uncharted, which is a long time, which is very long in a game's history, if you think about it. The average game gets played for a year, and that's not telling you how many people actually play it. It's just like, okay, after a year, the life cycle, in a sense, is kind of dormant or dying, because, like, everything dies when it first starts. When you first make the game, if you look at it that way, it's always going to grow, and then it's going to decrease over time, because people are going to move on to new things, and this is how it works. But that changes the idea. It's not so much about bringing new people in, because people will come and go, replace the other people that left. That's just how it goes. It's a constant fluctuation. It's a cycle. That's how it's been in hundreds of other communities. But the big idea is to build a foundation now, so that over the course of Uncharted 3, the life cycle of this game, however long it may be, that we keep it steady. We keep it with as many people as we can, and we focus on that. Everybody that comes in, they're part of the family. We're just going to let them come in, be like, bam, you're part of this too. Stick around as long as you want. We'll make it fun for you and make it happy. Because the big thing is if we have this foundation now, when Uncharted 4, because we all know Uncharted 4 is coming out, regardless of Naughty Dog says, it's coming out. Sony's not going to kill off one of its biggest money makers in the business. Whenever it comes, whether it comes with a PS4, or it comes to the end of the PS3 life cycle, whatever happens, it doesn't matter. The point is, we're going to build this foundation now, so when it does come out, we have a steady growth of people that know what's going on, people who can really help out the newcomers that are coming into the community, and we have a better understanding of how to get this stuff going right away, instead of waiting until, months after the game is released to really get this idea of, like, oh, we should have been doing this. We should have been doing this a long time ago. But now we have the opportunity to do it now, because we're going to revitalize the idea of how exactly we're going to do this. So DTMB now is going to be comprised of 6 people. Myself, Ownin, Lowest Epps, Fake Hound, Fat Paulie, and G Money, the 2 guys from Pixel Enemy that have done a lot of stuff for Uncharted, but nobody's really paid attention to it, because we're kind of stuck in this little rut of, it's too much of a click, too many clicks, and we're going to try to build it, we're going to try to step away from that so we can make it more of a broad, like, this is who we are. We may have subgenres of who we are, but this is who we are as a whole. We're going to encompass the entire community, and rather than just separate it into 2 different sections. The idea is we're going to do the Machinima series. We're going to bring in the Machinima series from G Money, and anything else we do in the future, whether it's Fake Hound, myself, whoever. We're going to continue the commentaries. They're going to be more focused on what we're trying to do at the time. Yes, we're still going to have random commentaries, but over the next, the next course of the week, next 7 days, you'll hear intros, I guess re-intros for all those individuals who are going to be on DTMB, and how they expect to progress over time. A lot of the things we're going to be doing is more about building a community, about building and constructing this not so much a fort, but like a good house on a hill, away from all the bad things that could happen to it, but open to anyone else, anybody that wants to come into it. You know, we're, I guess, more of a, I guess it would be more like an inn. We're going to call it an inn because, you know, people come and go. That's just how it happens. But the foundation will always be there. The ambassadors, if you will. Because we're not, I don't want to say any of us are leaders. That's taking away from those individuals who do everything they can but just don't get the focus that they deserve. We're just going to be ambassadors in a sense because we're growing. These are people in the community that really have a voice. Because it's about personality. It's about building personalities. Because, yes, you can have all those videos in the, oh, like, look at my ramp hitter, or look at my random whatevers, or, you know, those kind of things are great. And they build, you know, they get interaction, and people come in and like, oh, look at this, let's check this out, let's talk about it. And then you move on to the next thing. And whatever that person does, you keep growing that. But if you build it around a group of personalities, that's where you really do it. Think of it as like, it's like a coalition of thinkers. Because you put these things together, you realize that, hey, you know what? I have this idea, and I have a stage to present it on. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to get people to rally around me, and rally, or more so rally around the idea than myself, and say, hey, let's do this, let's move this forward. Perfect example, Fake Hound. Exactly the reason why I brought this guy onto this is because he has an idea. He has a lot of ideas. A lot of ideas. Half of them he doesn't even say on the forums because he doesn't know exactly how they're going to go across. But the guy has... If you listen to the community award thing I did with him, you can understand his passion for this and where he wants to go and how he wants to progress. And that's the guy you need to follow behind. It's the same thing with Ownin. Ownin is an up-and-coming commentator who has a good personality. He's got a lot of good ideas, and he's very, very feisty. You need that sometimes. You need somebody to really kind of step out and be like, bam, you know what? I don't think we're doing this right. And not so much like, oh, well, let's kind of tiptoe around things. No, he's not going to do that. It's the same thing with Paulie. Paulie has a good understanding because he's coming from a bunch. Let's put G Money, Paulie, and Lowest all into one category. Not saying that they're all the same person, but they all have this similar thought pattern. You know, it's like, look, we came from other games, much like myself. We came from other games. We know how these things work in other games. Well, why can't we just do that, implement it into Uncharted? Because in a sense, Uncharted doesn't have a stable community. It's very all over the place. But if we kind of like, hey, let's band together right here on this spot, on this hill, and decide today, this is how we're going to do this. And like, let's move forward and progress through that. It's more about connecting with not only people in our community, but people outside of our community, and growing together and saying, hey, other games like us, let's band together and do these kind of things so we can help grow this. Because in a lot of ways, we're always going to be the odd man out. If you think of it that way, if you always look at it as just, if you let everybody else do the work for you, you're always going to be the odd man out. So this is an opportunity for us to really take the reins and really decide that, hey, I want to make a difference in this. I want to make a difference in the fact that I want this game to progress into the future. I want it to do better, and I want it to be stronger. So over the time, so what you can expect from DTMB in the future is our typical commentary. It's going to be very, very focused. A lot of the times, we're going to have randoms every now and then because we just want to. But you will have a very steady schedule of videos. It will happen on a regular basis. I would at least do one a week on a topic that I won't disclose yet. We'll just go over time so you guys have an idea. Because if I just start spilling stuff out now, it's never going to be consistent. The big idea is we're going to go over time. We're going to have those little bits and pieces that really bring in different portions. Whether it's the machinimas, whether it's montages, whether it's, you know, the competitive side, I will continue that on DTMB. A lot of those might also go to Frag Nation in the future, because that's where that stuff is housed. But a lot of different things, a lot of different ventures in that side, so that will still be here, but it's not going to be my only focus. It's more about building this introductory to people who don't know what this community is, and kind of going off that. Live streams will happen more often, whether it's with Ownin or my buddy Acelus. Acelus and I are actually going to be starting on a series where it's going to, you know, kind of redefine what Uncharted is. Redefine how do you do this game for the person who likes to play competitively, or the person who likes to just needs to get away from everything else. And it's like, look, I'm tired of Battlefield, I'm tired of COD, I'm tired of all this stuff that's coming out, it's just not holding me tight, it's not keeping me close. But now I got this, and like I see this community, and that's what the thing is like if you build a community, if you build that right, it doesn't matter how much that person loves the game. They come back to the community. They come back because they care about those people. And this is kind of a way, like, we're not so much going to weed out the bad apples, but it's going to be like, look, this is where we're going. If you want to follow along, power to you, man. Appreciate everything you can do. Give us all you got. But if you don't, well, you know what? It might be time for you to go someplace else. We're not going to tell you to go someplace else. We're just going to be like, look, We're focusing on other things. You can do what you want to do, but our big focus is to progress the community, and if that's not your part of the deal, then that's not your part of the deal. But I can't make any guarantees for you of how this is going to be, how we're going to be treated, but it's got to be a more fluid, positive motion. And you'll see over time, all the other commentators will give their perspective of how we're going to do this, because they all bring something special to the table. Every single one of them has something about them that makes their personality vital to how this community is going to grow. And, you know, it's one of those things, like, I don't want to use such a stupid cliche, but it's like, I call it the DTMB agenda. I guess it's like the Avengers agenda or something. I don't know why I did that. I apologize. That was really bad. It was just running through my head, and I was like, say it, it won't be stupid. And then when I say it, you're like, oh, that was really stupid. I shouldn't have done that. Anyways, the mind can play tricks on you a lot, so don't always listen to it. But at least in my case. But the big thing here is, this is how we're going to do this. It's going to grow over time. You're going to get a better understanding of how this is going to go. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Put them anywhere else. PM me, DM me, whatever. The DTMB Twitter is up. Some odd reason I cannot link it to the stinking YouTube yet, but it'll be there. It's growing. We're getting people on there. That'll be used. All of us will be using that. Everybody will be uploading directly to this channel. We all have a coalition, like I said, where we're going to work together on this. Bunch of other things. You know, I'm going to keep doing the different things I can. I'm going to do everything I can when I go to E3 to talk to Naughty Dog and be like, hey, look, how can we help? What can we do? How can we change this? Give us the steps. What can we do while you guys are working on this? Yada yada. Where can we go? So on and so forth. I got a list. I mean, like, sorry, Eric, but at least like 30 things I want to talk about. Be like, how are we going to do this? What is the plan for this? Where are we going with that? What is the steps for this? I mean, like, what can we be doing in this time? You know, we don't want to ever be lull. We don't want to like a dead zone. We always want to be doing something, because as long as we're doing something, it keeps us flowing, it keeps us going, and it keeps everything moving at the right speed. So a bunch of different stuff when I go to E3. It's going to be my focus, however long he has time to talk. But you know, this is the steps. And for those of you who are wondering all the old stuff, like, we're still going to be uploading your videos, but it's going to be a much more concise, much more defined, realized thing, other than just, hey, here's a video, let's put it up. You know, there is going to be a group, undisclosed, it's a secret, a group that will be doing that here in the near future. You can kind of keep tabs on that. I did hear that this weekend will be a big reveal for that, so they are going to be your go-to area for when it comes to anything that has to do with putting, if you got a video, you want to put it out there, bam, that's them. We're going to be doing a little bit of they're going to be our sister channel, if you will. And DTMB is going to be more of a focus. If you think about it, like, whatever this project is, they're going to be the focus of, you know, bringing together the community as a whole, a more broad spectrum. And DTMB is going to be focused on, you know, a very precise things. This part of the community, that part of the competitive side, this part of building the future. Over here with these kind of videos, hey, let's bring in more people. Hey, let's get Naughty Dog to put this stuff on whatever. It's going to be, I guess, the connection, if you will, the bridge. We're going to bridge that gap. At least that's our goal. So you guys got to rally behind us, help us out with this. So check out the videos from the other guys. They're going to be putting that up over the next 24 hours to 7 days, whenever they have time. You know, we do live in different areas and different spectrums and different abilities, but I will be starting my new series next week. I might be going back to my coaching stuff. You know, I really miss doing that. Anyways, I'll explain that next time. That's another thing. I'm running this close to 20 minutes, so we're going to get this done. So this is Squid, signing off for the new and improved DTMB, partnered with my buddies over at Pixel Enemy, with Ownin, Fakehound, Lowest, G-Money, Paulie, and myself. This is DTMB, and we're signing off. Peace.